Hello, beautiful souls. It's Lady Individuality, your triple A coach. And for those of you who don't know, that stands for AHA, Align in Action. And my purpose is to help you make sense of your life path so that you find the aha moments from your past that you might have thought were challenges or bad things. And once you find the aha and what they were meant to serve as, you can align with them where you are now and then act on them so that you create legacies for your future. And I use as a foundation a tool called Pythagorean Numerology. And I wanted to read something that I found interesting. It was called A Different Version of You Exists in the Mind of Everyone Who Knows You. It says, I read a book that blew my mind. The main character goes crazy when he realizes no one really knows him. The gist is that the person you think of as yourself exists only for you, and even you don't really know who that is. Every person you meet, have a relationship with, or make eye contact on the street with creates a version of you in their heads. You're not the same person to your mom, your dad, your siblings than you are to your coworkers, your neighbors, or your friends. There are 1,000 different versions of yourself out there in people's minds. A you exists in each version, and yet your you yourself isn't really a someone at all. I thought this was really interesting because, how many of us are searching for purpose and meaning in our life? How many of us will define ourselves as one way in one situation and as another way in another situation? And if you even our parents, if we were to take them into separate rooms and say, "Tell me about Lady Individuality," my mom would say something different than my dad would say, and I would probably say something totally different than what both of them would say. So the point I'm trying to make here is, just as there's so many different schools of thought of what's right or what's wrong, there's so many different versions of ourselves. And because of that reason, we have the ability to design ourselves. We have the ability, if we don't like what we're doing, we have the ability to change that. And if we don't like being in a situation we're in, we have the ability to change that. It's like they say, we write our own stories. We're the director of our own movies, but only when we realize that we have that power. And that's one reason I feel that my God led me to numerology. When the first part of my life, it led me to organized religion, but then that no longer served me. And then it led me to numerology. And, and so right now that's the space I'm in. And that's why I create my cohorts based around numerology, because as it says up here, there are two great days in a person's life: the day we are born and the day we discover why. Numerology is based on the first and it expediates the second. That was a quote by William Barclay. And that's, for me, that proved so true, because I always thought I was confused and messed up and I didn't understand why I did things a certain way. And when I first had my first ever numerology reading, it was like I had so many aha moments, like, that's why I do things that way. That's why this is that way. That's why this is that way. And that's why I call my approach the aha align action. Because once you start looking at your numerology profile and you look back on things that you didn't understand in your past life, and you probably question, well, why did God like allow that to happen to me, or why did that happen to me? And you start to see that it was part of a blueprint that you created before you even came to the earth. And so as a numerology alignment coach, my job is to help you remember who you came to earth to be so that you can align with that and then act on it and get what you want in life, what you came to be, do, and have. 'Cause so many of us are working for other people's dreams that we're neglecting our soul's desire. And that's why we're finding that we're not content. We might be making money, we might be doing this, but there's something's missing. And soul loss is one of the harshest things you have to cope with, because once your soul is like your inner child, it's like it's your playground, and once you've lost soul fragments or pieces of that, or it's lost you altogether, life becomes like low. You stay in depressive states and uncertainty. And so I'm looking for between 20 and 40 women to come with me into my community and build our lives around numerology. Align with what is and get the big, small, however your goal is, because we all came to the earth for a purpose. And once we find that purpose and we start realizing that, hey, this is what I need to ask for, this is what I need to let go of, and we were able to ask the universe for the things that we need because we actually know what we need. And we're not just having everybody telling us what we need based on what they need. And so, again, one of my missions is to help women make the rest of their life the best, no matter how bad your past was from your point of view. My concern is what your future is going to be, what my future is going to be. Whenever I leave this earth, it's like the My Little Pony song Legend of Everfree. Will my story be told, or will it remain a mystery? And if my story is told, what do I want people to say about my story? Do I want it to be an inspiration, or do I want it to be something that didn't bring too much good to the earth? So if you're interested in seeing what my community is about, there's a link below where you can start the process. And it's a 50-minute virtual class that I call Joyfully Becoming Your Own Spiritual. I'm sorry, I changed the name. It's now called Power in Becoming Your Own Spiritual Guru. And we start with that because, in my mind, your relationship with your higher self and your higher powers, however you title them, that is the most important thing you have as you walk this planet Earth. And those are the only things that will be here with you your entire existence. They were here when you started, and they'll be here when you leave. Your parents, your family, your friends, your pets, they come and go, but yourself and your higher powers, they've always been here and always will be here. And so we first of all work on strengthening that relationship, even if we have to recreate it or design our own concept of a God, because maybe the one that we came here with, we don't understand it anymore, so it's no longer working. And that was something that was a surprise to me too, that we can design our concept of God. And if you don't believe it, just look at how many different religions exist, even religions that are under the same umbrella. Like if you go into one Christian church, it'll be teaching something different than this Christian church. And even Jehovah's Witnesses, they consider themselves Christians, and they have different beliefs. So, and that's kind of like in schools of numerology and other esoteric things, you'll find different thoughts of belief. And it's like whoever set that system up, that's the way the spirit sent it to them. And the way my company set up, that's the way the spirit sent it to me to do. But the spirit just wants us to know that, we're here with lessons, and it wants to reach as many people as possible. Even Jesus, even Buddha, even some of the other spiritual teachers, they didn't convert everybody to their religion because everybody wasn't their people. And so that's what I want to do. I want to find my people, my tribe, so that we can do the things that we came to earth to do. And I'm happy to know if that is you. And again, I'm Lady Individuality, helping you to embrace your divine journey. Hope to see you on the inside. Namaste.